Live from the campus of Union University, this is the Madison County Mayoral Candidates Forum, brought to you by the Jackson Chamber, the Leadership Jackson Alumni Association, Union University, and E+ Broadband, Jackson Energy Authority. Tonight, candidates for county mayor discuss important issues for Madison County. Now, your moderator, Keli McAlister.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the 2022 Madison County Mayoral Forum. My name is Keli McAlister, and it's my pleasure to serve as your moderator this evening. Before we introduce our candidates and tackle the top issues facing Madison County, please help welcome Kyle Spurgeon, President and CEO of the Jackson Chamber.
Good evening, everyone here at Union University and watching on TV. I'm Kyle Spurgeon, as Keli said, President and CEO of the Jackson Chamber. And we have all heard it, and we've probably said it many times. Elections matter. They matter because who leads matters. Jackson, Madison County, and all of West Tennessee will see unprecedented growth. We're going to see a lot of opportunities over the next decade. The development of Blue Oval City, only 20 minutes away from the Madison County line, will be the main driver of growth and will serve as the impetus for opportunities never seen before in our community. New manufacturing companies, new commercial and retail developments, new residential growth, a growing medical community, a potential doubling of tourists visiting Jackson, Madison County. Add to that the anticipated growth from existing industries and businesses and all the manufacturing companies that are here. The next decade may very well be the most important decade in the long and prosperous history of Madison County. Our next county mayor will have the opportunity to meet with many of the individuals and businesses who will consider investing not only millions, but billions of dollars in our community over the next decade. How the next mayor leads will have a direct impact on the type of growth that we experience in Madison County. In economic development, you most often do not get a second chance. First impressions, leadership style, teamwork, and a working knowledge of community assets are all critical to a mayor's ability to influence the decision-making process. Each of the four men who will be on this stage tonight feel they are the most qualified to lead Madison County as we enter this decade of unprecedented growth opportunity. And as voters, it is up to us to watch, listen, and learn from tonight's forum so we can make the most informed decision about which button to push when we go into the voting booth. All the gentlemen on this stage, the Jackson Chamber, we thank you for investing your time and resources toward a goal of being Madison County's next mayor. Good luck to each of you. One more thing that is very, very important, our sponsors. Without them tonight certainly would not happen. Union University and this renovated chapel, appreciate you sponsoring this event with us. E+ TV6, Jackson Chamber, and Leadership Jackson Alumni Association are all of our sponsors. Enjoy tonight's forum.
And now please welcome Joseph Ross.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Ross, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the Leadership Jackson Alumni Association Board this year. And on behalf of the Leadership Jackson Alumni Association, I would like to welcome you once again to this Madison County Mayoral Forum. It is the mission of Leadership Jackson and Leadership Jackson Alumni Association to strengthen our community by developing engaged leaders, inspiring leadership, and encouraging community trusteeship. In keeping with that mission, the Leadership Jackson Alumni Association is proud to be a sponsor of this forum, just as we were the City of Jackson Mayoral Forum in 2019. We appreciate the opportunity to help be a conduit of information to the community, and we are thankful that you're joining us this evening. The future of Jackson and Madison County has never been brighter. The person who is elected to serve as the next mayor of Madison County will play a pivotal role in leading us into a time of extraordinary growth and opportunity for our community. Thomas Jefferson once said, "An informed citizenry is at the heart of a dynamic democracy." Those words are so true. Your informed vote is extremely important. And it is with that in mind that we once again thank you for joining us this evening as we learn more about these candidates and their vision for Madison County. And at this time, I'll introduce you once again to our moderator for this evening, Keli McAlister.
Thank you, Joseph, and thank you, Kyle. I would like to begin by reviewing our rules of the forum. All candidates have agreed to abide by these rules. There will be a 2-minute opening statement and a 2-minute closing statement for each candidate. Candidates will answer every question. The order of the candidates on stage and the order in which candidates answer questions have been predetermined by random drawing. Candidates will be allowed 45 seconds to respond to questions. Candidates are not allowed to reference or otherwise address one another. In the event that one candidate is referenced by another, the referenced candidate will be granted an additional 30 seconds to speak. The audience should refrain from applauding, cheering, or in any other way participating in tonight's forum, except for right now, as we welcome our candidates. Mr. Fren'Cherry Miller. Mr. A.J. Massey. Mr. John Newman. Mr. Gary Pickens. Again, our candidates tonight will each have 2 minutes for an opening statement. As mentioned before, the order was predetermined through a random drawing conducted with the candidates or his representative. We begin tonight with Mr. Pickens.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to have you here with us tonight, and I want to say thank you to all the folks that have worked to put this event on tonight. It's a great pleasure for us to all be here. 2 minutes about my life is going to take me a little while, but I'll try to squeeze it all into 2 minutes. Born and raised here in Jackson in Madison County, went to school in the Madison County Public Schools, graduated from Southside High School, have my bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in personnel management. Retired from the military after almost 26 years of service at the rank of captain, served during Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and also I am a certified pilot, private pilot. I have my own plane, and I like to get out and fly for my relaxation. I hope that as we go through the night, you'll begin to get a little better idea of who I am and what I am about. And hopefully, as May 3rd rolls around, you'll say, you know what, I think that's the guy I want to vote for. So thank you very much for having me tonight.
Mr. Miller.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Kelly, and Union University for putting this on. My name is Fren'Cherry Miller. I want to be your mayor for 2 reasons. 1, I want to bring opportunities for everyone and every citizen in this county. 2, I want to make sure that we are doing the things that we need to do in order to move forward. And I want to do that through my HEAL program, H-E-E-L. First one is housing and health care. We want to make sure we're the #1 region as far as what we're serving, how we're serving our constituents and our public. 2, education. I want to make sure that our kids have opportunities to the universal pre-K and STEM educated, and make sure that we can compete nationally and we raise our ranking from 95 to the top 25%. The second is economic development. I want to make sure that we are covering all the areas of economic development that we need to do in order to make this county an amazing county. And the last one is L, law enforcement. We want to make sure we're supporting, recruiting, and training our law enforcement to give us a safe Madison County. And just to let you know a little bit about myself as well, I'm born and raised here, graduated from West High School, class of 1986. Whoop, whoop. And joined the Marine Corps, spent 29 years, and my last 2 contingencies, I was a senior Marine in country, where I was the face of the Marine Corps and the diplomat for the overseas, and I was handpicked for the last one. And once I went over there and came back, and made sure everything was sound, I was given a walk-on-water fitness report, which was, normally I just get up and just go to work, but when they gave me that, I was like, I didn't realize how much they had thought of me to do that type of service for them. And now I just want to be your mayor so I can continue serving, and there's no flip to switch when it comes to serving. It's something that I love to do. Thank you.
Mr. Newman.
Thank you, Kelly. And thank you all for attending tonight. Thank you to the host tonight as well. My name is John Newman. I'm a Republican candidate for the nomination in the Republican primary. I grew up in Madison County. I went to school in Madison County. I went to Northside High School. I went to Jackson State Community College, and I also went to Union University. I was proud of all that. I owned and operated my own business, C&L Meat Company, where I fed a lot of folks when it was just 2 lane out there. And I had the opportunity at that time to be elected to the county commission. When I was 29 years old, I was elected to the county commission, and I was elected for 5 terms there. And while I was on the county commission, I immersed myself into the budget and learned how to run the county, how to, all the taxes, ins and outs of the county. The first 2 years I was there, the taxes were raised by 14% and 19%. We dug in, we elected some more Republicans to the commission, and we didn't raise taxes for 23 years after that. I've been blessed also to, after that, I also was elected as your trustee. I've been honored to serve for the last 3 terms, and we've brought efficiency to that office, and we've had record numbers of collections in that office, and that office intertwines with all the county offices in the county. So also built relationships throughout all the county with department heads, county officials, county commissioners. Along the way as well, one of the highlights of my life is for 8 years, I got to be a field representative for U.S. Senator Fred Thompson. And that was a great thing. I worked in 20 counties throughout West Tennessee. And before I forget, I'd like to recognize my wife Candy is here tonight, and also my daughter and one of my grandsons. Thank you very much.
Mr. Massey.
My name is A.J. Massey, and I'm seeking the Republican nomination for Madison County Mayor. I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, and I owe Madison County a whole lot. Madison County is where I built my life. It's where I went to USJ until the 9th grade, and then JCM 9th through 12th grade. It's where I spent 4 years at Union University, where I got a BSBA and an MBA several years later. It's where I met and married my middle school sweetheart, and after 17 years of marriage, we have 2 sons, an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, and are raising our family in Madison County. It's where I built a 17-year career in banking, working with folks wealthy and non-wealthy, help achieve their dreams and build the type of community that they want to see. With me, what you see is what you get. I'm not a career politician. I've never done this before. This is brand new territory. I didn't hire a consultant. I didn't do any polling. I didn't do any opposition research. So you're not going to hear me say a lot of things publicly about national political issues, because the reality is those don't really come into play. Even though they may poll well, they don't come into play with the county's mayor's job. I didn't mobilize my team to look at these gentlemen's social media pages and find topics and issues that I could twist and maybe make up something and misrepresent their character. I'm here to serve as your county mayor, not to divide people. I believe that's what good leadership does, is unify, not divide. Creating division is a no-win situation for everyone. We have to lead and lead well. Good leaders find opportunities for cohesion. Good leaders find opportunities to bring everybody into play where as many people possible win. My time on the school board has been lived that way. My time in my career has been lived that way. My time in this community has been lived that way. I'm a bridge builder, not a wall builder. And I hope you give me the opportunity to be your county mayor so we can do that on a bigger scale. And I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, candidates. Now let's get to our questions. Our next mayor will have the opportunity to move Madison County into an exciting new phase. What is your understanding of the job description for mayor of Madison County? Mr. Massey.
Well, like I just said, the job of the county mayor is to be a salesperson for the county and to be a salesperson within the departments that report to the county mayor. Most of the county mayor positions that are underneath the county mayor are elected officials as well, so there's not a lot of opportunity for forcing things to happen. You have to be able to sell. My career has been in sales. There's 3 things you have to do to sell well. You have to be known, you have to be liked, and you have to be trusted. And so the job of the county mayor is to be known, to be liked, and to be trusted with the constituents of Madison County, with the departments that report up to the mayor, and with industry and small businesses coming in and wanting to locate in our town. We have to sell Madison County, we have to sell the commission, we have to sell the leadership in our county to all pull the same direction and do big things for our county.
Mr. Pickens.
The county mayor has to be an advocate for the county. If you look at the actual job description, he is the chief financial officer for the county. So that means that you're going to be looking and dealing with the budget committee that actually makes the budget and passes the budget for Madison County. Just remember that the Madison County Mayor does not make the budget. However, as Madison County Mayor, you can bet I'm going to be having some input in that. Now, in reality, I can make suggestions to the budget committee. They can accept or reject. But what we need to make sure that we do is that we all pull together. We're all headed in the same direction. And what we want is the same thing for everyone in Madison County.
Mr. Newman.
The county mayor is a chief ambassador for economic development. That's first foremost. Chief executive. The county mayor has oversight on many daily employees or department heads in the county every day. The county mayor does build relationships. That's something I've done for 30 years. It's something I won't have to do when I get there. I already know these folks, and we already work together. But you know, to say the county mayor doesn't do anything is to say the chamber doesn't do anything. I've heard that because the chamber doesn't buy anything and they don't have a vote, but they have a lot of influence. So the county mayor has a lot of influence on how this county goes forward. And you lead the other elected officials. You hand out the oars so that we're rowing the boat in the same direction. And we've got a tremendous opportunity, and I would like to lead that opportunity.
Mr. Miller.
Thank you. The county mayor, in my opinion, and based on the job description, is, like you said, the face of the county. And with that being said, he's influential. He must be liked. He must be someone that knows the county and someone that cares about the county. One thing I looked up when I was considering this position is they didn't ask whether or not you have a heart for people. But I have a heart for people. I've served for 29 years. I've served as a diplomat for the Marine Corps overseas, and where we had to make sure that people understood what you were doing. And I want to do that on a bigger scale here. So with that being said, I want to make sure that I'm building bridges and making sure everyone works together, because teamwork makes the dream work.
In the past 9 months, there have been approximately $7 million in commercial real estate sold in downtown Jackson, as well as many businesses expanding or relocating. What future efforts can the county do to ensure what many call the heart of Jackson, downtown, continues to thrive? Mr. Pickens.
I think one of the things that the county mayor can do is work in conjunction with the city of Jackson. Now, I've heard stories that people in the county have said, well, we don't want to work with the city of Jackson. Well, you know, if it's good for the city of Jackson, it's going to be good for Madison County. So I want to make sure that we work together on all sorts of projects, bringing people in who are interested in developing downtown. Also, areas that are developing or people that are wanting to develop outside the area. Well, I think we all need to work together. I think that is going to be the key. And that leadership that I think I can bring is bringing those people together and talk about trying to get people together so that we can all work for the betterment, not only of Madison County, but where it can influence downtown as well.
Mr. Newman.
Well, it's obvious we should keep doing a lot of things we're doing now because it's been such a success. And about 25 years ago, we started on some of this, and it's been grown a lot faster in the last few months, is a Downtown Development Corporation, which the county invests in. And we first abated taxes for 10 years on anybody that would buy a property and fix it up, and they didn't pay taxes on their improvements over 10 years. It's something I support. It's incentive-based. And the chamber's done a great job of focusing on downtown Jackson, and I agree we should work with the city together on things that happen downtown Jackson, because the lifeblood of that, and quite frankly, it's been a local effort, not much grants and type things a lot of these cities get that did that work, and it's been a fabulous job, and I think we should do more of it.
Mr. Miller.
Well, the main thing we need to do, in my opinion, is definitely continue to bring businesses here, because businesses equals more options for people. Definitely more restaurants and definitely more cultural events to let our, let everyone know that, hey, we want whatever you're bringing to this city, we want to take advantage of it, because we're used to the normal things, but I'm used to kind of going to like Indian restaurants or Jamaican restaurants or things of that nature. When we have more restaurants here and more options for people, then we let people that's not from this country know, hey, we love you, you're here, and we want you here. So the main thing is to make Jackson the face of a diverse cultural environment so we all can take advantage of what they have to offer. Thank you.
Mr. Massey.
Yeah, so there's been 130 properties, over 130 properties sold in downtown Jackson in the last 18 months. And that $7 million number is obviously a reflection of that. That's tremendous momentum. And so I think the first job of the county is to get out of the way, to ensure that we're adding to that, not taking from it. 70% of our populace in Madison County lives within the city limits. And that populace continues to grow in the downtown area. And it's a unique populace. It's a lot of young, new families, and it's also a lot of retirees. And so once again, the county can impact that by, number one, staying out of the way and making sure we're adding to and not taking away, but strategic development, bringing in the right companies, the right businesses, so that we have maybe nightlife, maybe we have new opportunities for development in downtown Jackson that the county can be a part of.
Recent studies have shown the importance of recreation and parks departments as it relates to quality of life and well-being for citizens of all ages. Do you have a plan for funding park upgrades or increasing department staff to bring more programming and opportunities to our county parks? Mr. Newman.
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is evaluate every park that we have and ensure that we have participation in all parks. That is another place I think is a great place to join with the city in discussions on how they do parks and how we can joint venture with the city about running and cooperating with some of our park things, because we don't need duplication of services. We need extension of services throughout all of our county, where all of our children and all of our adults and others can have recreational opportunities. So I think a thorough evaluation of the parks we have now, that they're being taken care of, they're being maintained, and they're being used.
Mr. Miller.
I think absolutely. Definitely want to fund it, and definitely want to make sure that we are continuing that, because I think one thing we've done is gotten away from the basic fundamentals of what outside is, and that's actually getting out and enjoying it. Yes, we can have certain parks, but I remember as a kid, certain parks we had here, they stayed packed every weekend. We looked forward to going to the park, and now that's like, it's just completely disappeared. But I definitely want to bring in a staff and make sure that those parks are definitely up and operational, and these are the places that people want to go and enjoy being outside, because now that will help create a healthier Madison County when we get outside and we exercise by walking or, just really enjoying the park. So definitely bring in a staff.
Mr. Massey.
Well, a couple of months ago, I took the boys down to Memphis, and the zoo was closed, so it was a rough few minutes, but we pivoted and we went to Shelby Farms. And we played that day, and it was just a diverse group of people from the Memphis area that were there. There was thousands of people teeming all over this park. And I think there's a few reasons why. Number one, location, but also the amenities offered. And one thing I noticed, some of the big structures, some of the things that were attractive were corporately sponsored. So number one, with the development that's happening in West Tennessee over the next few decades, we're going to have more doors. We're going to have more people. So our tax revenue should increase. But I think looking for opportunities to partner with corporations to help fund some of these things and offset the taxpayers' cost, and it's better quality, and where they're going to take pride in it and take care of it.
Mr. Pickens.
As the new mayor, I want to evaluate everything about Madison County. The parks need to be evaluated, not evacuated, but evaluated. So we definitely do need to look at that, but then we need to evaluate all new departments that are all departments that are located in Madison County. One thing that I want to make sure that we do is exercise the opportunity for grants that will give us some of the money, as opposed to running the risk and causing citizens to think, oh no, they're going to do something to the parks, they're going to raise our taxes. We do not want to do that. What I would prefer to do is make sure that we have grants secured that are available to do the things that we need to do in those parks to make them beautiful and attractive to everyone across the county.
As part of our forum tonight, we've added a few questions to help our audience get to know the candidates as individuals. These are questions designed to be answered in a single word or phrase. Our first rapid-fire question: when was your last speeding ticket? How fast were you going, and did you call in a favor? Mr. Miller.
Ooh, I want you guys to like me, so I don't know if I should answer. My last speeding ticket was probably 10 years ago, and I think I was doing like 65 and a 55.
Did you call in a favor?
No, I didn't know anyone to call. I was out of town.
Mr. Massey.
My last time getting pulled over was about 3 days ago. Heading between events, as you men know, there's lots of busyness in this time of your life, and I was heading from one event to another. Got pulled over on Airways 62 and a 45. I was moving. And he recognized me from billboards and ads. And I didn't ask for any special favors, but I did tell him, you know, I made it 2 weeks before the election, and the miles I put on this car, I knew that statistically I would be pulled over. I made it within 2 weeks of the election and finally didn't get a ticket, though, so he let me go.
Mr. Pickens.
Well, the last time I got pulled over and actually received a ticket was earlier this year, as a matter of fact, in the state of Mississippi. So I gave the folks in Mississippi a little bit of my money. I remember the trooper there was exceedingly nice. He said, "Sir, do you know how fast you were going?" And I said, "Well, my guess is lickety-split." So he got a nice little chuckle out of that. And so, but he still gave me a ticket, and no favors there because I didn't know anybody to call in Mississippi. So I went ahead and just paid the citation.
Mr. Newman.
Well, I didn't get pulled over, but I got a ticket in the mail, threw it right through McKinsey. And some say you don't have to pay them, but I will, and no favors.
Now let's get back to our questions. The Great Resignation is described as a record number of people leaving their jobs during the pandemic with no plans of returning to the workforce. What is your answer for addressing our workforce shortage? Mr. Massey.
Well, it's really twofold. Number one, we have to do an excellent job in our schools to make sure we're producing workforce that has the skill set and the knowledge to step into the workforce without any issue. And that's happening with our workforce development programs in our schools. Number two, you know, encouraging and incenting businesses to offer things that bring people back to work, such as childcare, ancillary benefits that's not just pay or hourly wages, but actually attracts people back to work. We went from 80 daycares in Madison County 10 years ago to there's about 26 now. So that's a problem, and they're expensive. The ones that are out there are expensive, and they're hard to get into. So I think, once again, encouraging employers to think outside of that box. Tyson's doing that up in Humboldt. Our local businesses should be incented and encouraged to do that as well.
Mr. Pickens.
Yeah, I'm excited about the fact that Tyson has decided to, as they say, bite the bullet and put a child care center. I think that's one of the things that will help folks get back to work, and if nothing else, it may help the numbers that we sometimes run into as far as trying to get people to be able to come to work. You know, the kids get sick. If you're a single parent, you know, you have to take your kid to the doctor and that sort of thing. However, with that child care center that Tyson is going to put in, I think that may actually help people being late for work, not being able to come to work because the kids are sick and that sort of thing. So I think child care and child care centers are going to be an important thing to add.
Mr. Newman.
I agree with the child care part of it, and I think when we talk to companies that are coming in here, that should be one of the things that we should talk about. But quite frankly, I think that some people have figured out there's going to be people that are going to stay home and do their jobs at home, one. And number two, as we compete for people to come back into the workforce, we cannot incentivize them in any form or fashion to stay home. And I think that's kind of been some of the problem is they got comfortable at home, comfortable with the things that the federal government spent billions and billions and billions of dollars out to folks, and they got comfortable home, and it's hard to get them back out sometimes.
Mr. Miller.
I definitely think that one way to get people back to work is have multiple job fairs. If people don't know that the jobs are out there, then chances are they won't come. But then, too, they may be underemployed or unemployed, so they may want to do a shift to a different location. And looking at how certain jobs, how you apply to certain jobs, you have to go through a lot of red tape. Well, that's going to produce a lot of entrepreneurs. So we want to streamline the entrepreneurial process, because if you decide not to go back, you should be able to start a business, thrive in that business, and conduct that business, and also probably be a consultant. But I definitely think the immediate rectification of that would be multiple job fairs every week. Excuse me.
The percentage of adults in Madison County considered to be in poor or fair general health is 23.5%. That's compared to the state average of 19.5%. Under your leadership, what do you see as the county's role in creating a healthier community? Mr. Pickens.
Well, certainly working in the healthcare field myself, you know, I'm pretty close to that situation. We have just got to make sure that services that these folks need are readily available. I think we need to use that word again, evaluate ways that we can bring more healthcare services to people that are desperately in need of those. Not everyone can afford insurance. Not everyone is on Medicare or Medicaid, but they still need health care. And so I think we're going to have to look at a plan that where we can utilize maybe some doctors that would be willing to work with us and try to set up maybe even some mobile clinics to go around to communities and try to help people make sure that they do get their health care.
Mr. Newman.
Well, I do think we, as we said, job fairs, we need to have more health fairs, and we need to identify some of these problems even in school and have places for these folks to go. But my experience throughout going around the county and dealing with a lot of nonprofits, we've got a healthy nonprofit group in this county, whether it's Boys and Girls Club or all kinds of different groups that can identify and bring people. So we should highlight those groups so that, and shed a light on what they're producing and what they're putting out, because quite frankly, churches and nonprofits and that type of thing will do a lot better job than government will do.
Mr. Miller.
I definitely think have some health-friendly events, you know, where we can get outside and definitely get exercise, but also work closely with the health department for the ones that doesn't have the resources in order to, or have health care, to make sure that they have the resources so they can see these citizens that we have that are between jobs or between health care plans and all that. In addition to that, definitely, like I said, healthy events. Get out walking. Encourage this. Make sure we're doing it and leading the way as leaders, because I know serving in the military, I mean, we exercise all the time, and I was rarely ever sick. And it wasn't until I got out of the military that I started, you know, getting sick. So I think that we definitely get out, stretch the old bones and crack the knees and everything. I think we'll definitely get back on the right track.
Mr. Massey.
Well, I think the number one solution to this would be taking a proactive approach in preventative medicine, making sure that we have, as these new developments come in and new housing opportunities come into Madison County, making sure they're walkable, making sure there's bike lanes, making sure there's incentives and an easy way for people to get out and move. I think education is a key component of that, letting our constituents and our people in the county understand that the front door of the hospital isn't where you go for sniffles to put undue pressure on our healthcare system, but education around that and maybe heading off some of those. And also, I think it's number one, it's addressing our poverty issue in town. As I've said before, adverse childhood experiences can impact children and their health and their development over their entire life. So we have to address the poverty issue, and we can long-term stem some of these issues.
Current Madison County Mayor Jimmy Harris, who is not running for re-election, has garnered wide respect throughout our region, state, and beyond as a leader and a partner. What is your plan to not only maintain, but build on that credibility and the partnerships he's helped establish? Mr. Newman.
Well, Mayor Harris is a great friend of mine, and I'm also delighted that I have his endorsement for county mayor. No one knows like the current county mayor who would be fit to serve in that job, and he's done a tremendous job over his 15 years. I was working with him when I was on the county commission when he became mayor, and I've worked with him many times since. He's been in my office several times as we've approached things like how do we go to the commission and how we pass something, how do we get money for the University of Memphis Lammoth campus or something like that. So we work very closely together. Now, it's a lot of shoes to fill, but I know that I have the ability and the training and the understanding and the relationships that I've already built to move forward from where he is now to go forward.
Mr. Miller.
Definitely, I want to audit all the programs that we currently have to see what's working, what hasn't working, or what's working very slowly. For those programs that's not working, I want to remove them. I know he filled, there's a lot of big shoes to fill, you know, following behind him, but I know that I have the experience and I know that I have the resources and the know-how to make sure that I pile on top of that to make sure that we have a better Madison County.
Mr. Massey.
Mayor Harris is a friend, and he was an advocate during our first few years on the school board. We talked consistently about the issues that were happening with the school board being a county entity. So he and I have a quality relationship. I called him actually when I was considering this and had a good conversation about the opportunity that was in front of me. And I did tell him that I would not be running if he were seeking another term. I was proud and glad that he was running, that he was serving us well. My number one thing, I would tell Mayor Harris, don't go anywhere. Stay around. I think it's important that leaders understand when it's time to step out of the way, but don't go away. And that goes for any of our county and city leadership. Don't necessarily go away. Stay around so we have contextual knowledge, some historical data, some information so that we don't stub our toe like maybe they did in their first few years in office.
Mr. Pickens.
Yeah, Mayor Harris has done a tremendous job for Madison County, and I think you know, he deserves all the accolades that we can possibly give him. But as he did develop so many connections to so many people, and and you might say smooth the road somewhat so that we can make it easier for us to all work for him, work with him, and work with other areas. I want to continue to work and develop those same type of relationships to all the areas that he touched, and hopefully there will be just a transition, hopefully a smooth transition from Mayor Harris into a Mayor Pickens administration. But he doesn't need to go anywhere. I certainly would agree with that. We need him as a great resource of information.
More than half of our workforce commutes from outside of Madison County. So along with those who call our county home, the additional traffic takes a toll on our roads, which are vital, of course, to keeping us moving and thriving. How can the city and county work together to improve our aging roads and highway infrastructure? Mr. Miller.
Well, the first thing that we can do is definitely check out all the roads, but I definitely think that widening the roads would definitely be one key to making sure we have smooth access. In addition to that, I think that we also need to look at telecommuting. Anyone that lives in a certain area in order to basically, keep from restricting the traffic flow is telecommuting and or ride share. I think that'll be a definite thing that would, have less vehicles on the road. In addition to that, I think that also that we could also, the ones that live close by, would consider, exercising or using bicycles or something like that, because that's something I used to do in my, when I was in Atlanta. So I think that's definitely would help out.
Mr. Massey.
Pretty simple answer, a toll road. I'm just kidding. That has been proposed, about 20 toll roads coming into Madison County, but I don't think that's really necessarily feasible. It is a tremendous impact on our roads, and it's a bedroom deal where they're sleeping outside of Madison County. So we have to capture tax dollars while they're here. So I think making sure that we have quality businesses around businesses to serve them lunch and different things like that, so that the tax base increases without an impact on our citizens. That's the fortunate thing about Madison County that some of our surrounding counties don't have, is sales tax revenue. A lot of our surrounding counties depend entirely or primarily on their household taxes, and it's just their infrastructure is failing. So we need to lean heavily into our local infrastructure, lean heavily into our local businesses, and making sure we're collecting as many taxes while they're here, and then they can go back home.
Mr. Pickens.
Again, evaluate the situation and try to take a look at how we can garner some of those taxes as folks come into the area. Again, it's going to be an ongoing situation, and we're going to have to constantly evaluate, and make sure that we're doing the right things for the outcome that we desire to have.
Mr. Newman.
Well, Joe Biden's done a lot to slow people down driving anywhere with the prices of gas, so that does help some. But a lot of the roads that's coming into the county are state aid roads or state roads, and state monies goes into. A lot of the county, as far as the county mayor goes, we've got all these 6 lanes that's coming through all the way through our county now, and that's been millions and millions of dollars that have been spent there. And of course, we've all had to put up with the construction, that type thing. But these cars are going to keep coming through here, but we want to get all of them off the highway we can for the purpose of spending their money here in Jackson, coming here for tourism, and spending money here so we can use those resources and reallocate them towards all of our roads.
There are many areas in the city and county that already work together to better serve residents. The planning department is an example. Are there any other areas outside of the planning department where you could see a natural partnership between city and county government? Mr. Massey.
Well, there's a Parks and Rec department with the city and a Rec and Parks department for the county. I think that's an opportunity for some cross-pollination there. I've been in a lot of our city parks. I'm in a county park nearly every weekend and weeknight playing baseball, and they don't look a whole lot different. The needs that are there, the lawn mowing, the concrete needs, the structures just aren't that different. So I think there's an opportunity to hold hands in that area and maybe replicate some of what they're doing. I think the city has done a really good job with a proactive plan around the roads in the city. Just about any city resident can call the city hall and figure out when their road's going to be resurfaced, when it's been scheduled, because there's a proactive plan. So let's borrow that and make sure our county has a proactive plan with each of our roads. It may be 2 or 3 years away, but at least you'll know that new quality road's coming.
Mr. Pickens.
Well, certainly we do need the roads and make sure that they are in good shape, and the Parks and Recs would be an excellent opportunity for two different entities to work together to try to bring some good quality parks and recreation to the area. As far as working together not only Parks and Recs, but I think there may be some other areas, if we can evaluate it and sit down and talk with one another, which is going to be important in any administration, to talk with other people, and to see if there are areas where we have some common ground and in fact can work together.
Mr. Newman.
Well, it's not just wanting to do it, it's necessary to do it for anything successful that we've done. One example as far as parks goes is the 18-field ballpark travel baseball that was a joint venture between city and county. The chamber assisted with that. Well, that was an agreement that I personally did on the county side and Charles Farmer did on the city side, and it's been a tremendous success. So that was a partnership on one project, and it's brought all these hotels and that type of thing here. Now, we also have Team Madison County. I haven't buttoned on tonight. And Team Madison County, all the projects, all the industrial recruitment, the things that we do, Great Wolf Lodge, the University of Memphis, Lambeth, all that's cooperative effort of a lot of team members, including city and county.
Mr. Miller.
Definitely, I think code enforcement is one, Parks and Rec, police and sheriff, emergency responders. All these things work in hand in hand or in tandem with each other. So I think by partnering with them, we'll definitely make sure that we're covering every aspect of the county and making sure we're serving our citizens properly.
Time for another rapid fire question. Which superhero do you most identify with? Mr. Pickens.
Superman.
Mr. Newman.
Batman.
Mr. Miller.
Thor.
Mr. Massey.
I'd say Hulk.
Madison County residents represent a diverse population, not just in race, but in a variety of other ways. Sexual orientation, gender, socioeconomic status, and religion, just to name a few. How will you ensure you're a representative for everyone who calls Madison County home? Mr. Newman.
Well, we do have a diverse community. Like you said, we have whites, blacks, Asians, Hispanics, Indians, and all others. And we all live together. And I believe that all people are created equal. But as far as diversity goes, diversity is that every single person is unique. And we need to be mindful at all times of uniqueness of all the people that we're serving, all the people in the community. And we also have urban and rural people that we have to serve as well, because we have very rural communities in our district and we have very urban thought process. And so we have to be mindful at all times of the makeup of our community and the needs that they all have.
Mr. Miller.
Definitely have more cultural events. I think by showing our visitors or the people that live here as well as we are, that we are really concerned about their culture and we want to embrace their culture and learn their culture. Even if we decide to learn their language, I think that's another thing that would definitely help out. Also, in our hiring events, make sure that we are hiring all ethnicities across leadership, to make sure that we have a very diverse group of people in every area of government and every area of our city. So I think that would definitely help out.
Mr. Massey.
This is an absolute passion of mine, and I'll talk about it for hours if I could. But number one, I think that our county leadership should look like our county constituents. I think that when constituents walk into the county offices to do any sort of business or ask a question, they should see someone that looks like them. And so making sure that we reflect the way our populace looks. Being on the school board, we've addressed this quite a bit with our teachers, making sure our teachers look like our student population. And the way we did that is identify what the issue was. Were we not getting enough minority applications, or were we biased in our hiring practices? And so we dug into that, and we're able to identify some ways to increase that diversity within our workforce. And I would plan to do that with our county. That would be a big goal of mine, to make sure that our county workforce looks like our community.
Mr. Pickens.
One thing we have to remember is that everyone matters. Every single person matters. And so they should be able to feel like that as they come into county government, if they come to work for county government, that they should feel like that any barriers, any systemic barriers that are out there are going to be erased. They're going to be given a fair shot, a fair opportunity to excel in the job that they're in. So we need to make sure that we embrace the other cultures, if you will. Embrace people for who they are, their strengths, help them with their weaknesses, but make sure that everyone knows that they matter.
The road to reemployment is especially difficult for those who have been incarcerated. What are your plans to improve the chances for employment and reintegration for those individuals when they are ready to reenter society? Mr. Miller.
Well, first of all, I have a post-incarceration program that I want to implement, which helps walk them from stage to stage in warm handoffs to make sure that they don't return back to that. And I think a lot of times we have invested too much money into recidivism instead of really helping them to get back on the right track. Because again, it shows in the jail that was built, and I understand why it was built, because repeat offenders, we definitely need to put them away. But when they come out, we need a hand-to-hand or a warm handoff from entity to entity to make sure that these people don't return back into that lifestyle. And I think we also definitely need to just take our time with them. And the main thing, I think, is mental health. We need to really advertise and push this because, again, we're all dealing with something.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Massey?
Yeah, there are many programs out there that have begun to figure out this issue of how to get people back in the workforce and do it safely. One of my best friends lives in Birmingham and is the president of one of these organizations. And so I think let's borrow ideas that have shown marked improvement in this area, and let's replicate them here in Madison County, and let's frankly fund them as a county. I also think we need to work with our local employers. I don't know if it's in some sort of liability or some way to get over the barrier of hiring someone with a record so that they can be put to work in quality, good paying jobs that are safe for nonviolent offenders that made a mistake and can get back. So the incentives are out there. Many of our local nonprofits are already doing that, but let's do that here in town, and then once again, let's help our local community, our local business owners, bring them into their fold.
Mr. Pickens?
I believe everyone should be given that second chance. They paid their debt, so let's get them in to where they can find a meaningful job, where they can actually participate in the community, they can participate in life, and hopefully everything will turn around for them. So that is one of the things that I think we need to take a serious look at and make sure that we give everyone a fair shake.
Mr. Newman?
Well, our local jail is primarily a holding place before they get sentenced, before they go to court, and when they get sentenced, they go to prison, and so state or federal prison. And I've had the opportunity to visit several of them, and there's a lot of vocational programs inside the prison, and those that want to do well and want to get out and do things, can have a lot of trades or what type of the things that we need. So we need to make sure to identify what we're needing, like we do the rest of the populace, for those that even are in the prisons throughout Tennessee. The state's doing a good job of being able to have those prisoners with felonies and stuff to get out and have their records changed so that they can go into the workforce. But I think it's those that really go in and want to take a chance, they'll prove it while they're all there, and they'll be valuable when they get out.
Time for another rapid fire question. When was the last time you did a complete load of laundry? Mr. Massey?
Today, I got in trouble because I put the dog's blanket in with the rest of the clothes, so there's a little hair issue going on there.
Mr. Pickens?
A load of laundry? This past weekend, I think.
Mr. Newman?
I do laundry, but in bits, and my wife has a certain system of colors and stuff, so I try to stay away from it.
Mr. Miller?
Probably about two months ago in one of my Airbnbs.
The city of Jackson is blessed with high-speed fiber connectivity. Do you have plans to make sure those who live in the county have the same access, especially as more people are working from home, and of course our students often need access for their homework? Mr. Pickens?
I'd like to see that countywide. I'd like to see everybody have access. I know at one point, and again, I will be honest with you, I'm not sure. I think the laws have been changed as far as coverage area, particularly when you have like a utility company does an overbill on someone like, say, Charter Communications, for example. Used to, you could only go into certain areas that were covered by the utility company if they did an overbill. And I'll be honest with you, I'm quite ignorant of whether that law has changed or not, but I think we need to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to have access to the internet and everything that goes with it.
Mr. Newman?
Well, this is a great question. We were out at Papa Daddy's Mercer this weekend. We couldn't even send a picture to anybody. And we got a situation where we have the very best as possible is pretty much inside the city or just outside the city, and then the worst is out on our county line and coming in. And we've had grants that we applied for, and we're dealing with this. Southwest Electric's dealing with it. I have an employee that worked in my office that could not work from home because she could not get internet in Beach Bluff. So I know that's being addressed, but this is something that until every household in Madison County has it access to high-speed internet, we haven't done our job, so we need to do that.
Mr. Miller.
Could you repeat the question? I didn't miss the first part of it.
Yes. The City of Jackson is blessed with high-speed fiber connectivity. Do you have plans to make sure those who live in the county have that same access, especially as more people are working from home and, of course, our students need access often to do homework?
Okay, absolutely. Being someone who's actually a telecommunications chief in the Marine Corps, I realize the value and how important that is. And, of course, you know, if you're driving down the road and just things start buffering or you can't get a phone call in or whatever, that's very, very frustrating. So, yes, I want to make sure from county to county, point to point, we are covered all the way through Madison County.
Mr. Massey.
We have gigabit fiber in the city of Jackson primarily, and that's a tremendous, tremendous resource. I don't think we really realize how lucky we are to have that. That does need to be pushed countywide. And I think now is the time to do it. As we have industry coming into the western part of our county, primarily the airport area, that's going to be suppliers and serving the new Blue Oval City, this is our opportunity to attract those families that are going to live here. That could be a point of issue. If they don't have access to quality internet with now streaming services and all those kind of things, you need quality internet in your home to have quality of life. So I think it's not necessarily a county issue. I understand there's other entities. Once again, the job of the county mayor is to sell, is to be a PR rep, and to bring those people together, and now's the opportunity. We've got leverage.
Leading up to today, you have each answered many questions regarding Blue Oval City and the guaranteed impact it will have on Madison County and West Tennessee. But what many may not realize is that more than 90% of new jobs and investment in Madison County come from existing industries. So what is your plan to take care of our existing companies, and where do you see room for improvement in this area? Mr. Newman.
Well, the first thing is to recognize the fact that Blue Oval City is going to come in, they're going to be offering jobs, and a lot of our industries that we've been proud to have for years, and good companies are going to lose some key employees. So the awareness of what's going on now and get on top of that so that they have the resources they need, and more labs and more things at Jackson State and more things at all of our colleges to go ahead and address what does this company need, what does that company need, and we need to address it more aggressively because we know this is coming.
Mr. Miller.
Definitely job fairs and recruiting. With those job fairs and having multiple job fairs, probably once a month or whatever, that's going to, again, remind people of the jobs that are available. Recruiting, have their own human resources department really reach out and start being really proactive instead of reactive, because we know this is happening. In addition to that, I've spoken with the transportation department at JTA. A lot of these factories that we currently have, they're out too far away and they don't have transportation. So as a county leader, what we have to do is work with him in order to get transportation out there so these jobs can be filled.
Mr. Massey.
Our local industry already has a tremendously difficult time recruiting workforce. And so with the coming in of Blue Oval and all those ancillary factories and suppliers, it's going to be even more difficult. And I also think that brings in a union threat. And so there's an opportunity for those jobs to have more to give and offer employees than our own county jobs have. We have to answer the questions for those people to choose to live and locate in Madison County and work for our industry. And I think finally, we have to invest in our schools. We have to make sure that our workforce development programs within our schools are quality, have direct impact, and have equipment they're going to use at local industry in these workforce development centers that we have in our district to make sure that there's no gap there. They can start to work right away. And also with our Loop program, students can work in industry and go to school at the same time, and there's a direct pipeline to the workforce.
Mr. Pickens.
I think it's important, pardon me, that we start now. I was listening to a gentleman talk recently about Blue Oval City coming in and when they would actually start working and start bringing people in and putting people to work. He said, we've got some time. My philosophy is that if we think we have time, we may actually be running out of time. We need to start now. We need to start working and making sure that folks that will be leaving the workforce for some companies, that those folks have an opportunity to replace the folks that will be leaving, the people that are coming in. Make sure that they are schooled, make sure that they are trained, make sure that the leadership of this county is working with the folks to get people into the school system and develop some programs for adults.
How about another rapid fire question? What is your hidden talent? Mr. Miller.
Hidden talent. I am a master woodworker.
Mr. Massey.
I can long snap a football better than anybody else in here.
Mr. Pickens.
Would you repeat the question, please?
What is your hidden talent?
Which one?
Mr. Newman.
Well, I can cook barbecue pretty good. I'm not sure it's that hidden.
We'll move on to our questions again. Public education is the backbone of every community, and it affects us all in a great way. As mayor, how will you support the leaders and decision makers within our education system, and what impact do you believe that will have on our community? Mr. Miller.
Well, the first thing I think is we just need to make sure that every student is STEM educated as well as VOTEC educated. We need to be able to compete nationally with everything. We also need to have a universal pre-K, start in elementary and work it as we go up, because what we don't want is our kids to continue to be left behind. So every decision that needs to be made in the area of making sure that we invest in our children, because they're going to replace us someday, and we want them to have the knowledge that they need.
Mr. Massey.
Well, my 4 years on the school board has definitely given me some eye-opening opportunity for this. I also have a second grader in our public schools. My wife works in our public schools. My mother-in-law is a longtime principal in our public schools. So this is a world I'm very, very familiar with. And I believe we have to invest in our public education in a wise way. I'm proud of our school system, and being a part of the budget committee on the school board, we were able to reduce our school board budget by about $4.5 million last year proactively. And we're able to prove that we're using tax dollars well. So it's prime for that. Now, the schools do the job in the classroom. That's not a county issue. But the county can alleviate and take steps to, once again, help with our poverty issue, help with those children that are coming to classrooms with tons of baggage and issues, programs, nonprofit investment to make sure that they're able to learn and learn well when they're in the classroom.
Mr. Pickens.
As we go forward toward Blue Oval City coming in, we're going to be seeing people that are going to be moving into those jobs. Eventually, the longer that plant is there, we're going to be seeing our kids that are coming out of schools that are going to be headed toward Blue Oval City to work. We need to make sure that our school system can train those folks for those type jobs that that are going to be needed at Blue Oval City. We need to make sure that technically that they know exactly what's going on. Now, it'll take us a little while when Blue Oval City really begins to get serious as to find out what type of jobs and what skills are going to be needed. But as far as our school system is concerned, we need to make sure that those skills are going to be there and prepare our kids for those jobs.
Mr. Newman.
First, on education, let me say this, and I've said it for 30 years. The most important thing that a parent decides for their children is where they go to school. And I'm a parental choice person. I believe all types of schools, from homeschooling, private schools, public schools. I'm a product of public schools, and I think that talking to Dr. King and some of the initiatives that he's brought forward, I believe that we really might be on the right track. But we might need to make sure that all students within our public school system have a shot and opportunity, and we're lifting them all up at one time, not just one group or another group at one school or another school, that we have initiative to do that. And so I think the county mayor certainly needs to be a cheerleader and be involved and be there and be a part of the school system, so that just as Mayor Harris has done, and I think he's done a good job, and I'd like to continue that.
Our next question is a yes/no answer. If Elon Musk offered you a ride on the next SpaceX, would you take it? Mr. Massey.
Absolutely.
Mr. Pickens.
Without a doubt.
Mr. Newman.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Absolutely not. Staying on.
That's great.
Our final question of tonight. What does Madison County 2050 look like to you? And what infrastructure and pieces are critical for your vision to become a reality? Mr. Pickens.
What I would love to see is a rapid rail system that will take us all the way across the entire state. I would like to see it actually begin here in Madison County. A lot of people do not know that plans for a rail system are already sitting on the shelf in Nashville. Several years ago, a Tennessee governor wanted to develop a rail system that spanned the entire volunteer state. Well, some folks said, if you build it, we'll never support you again. So that went on the shelf. I think we need to pull it off the shelf, get our current legislators in Nashville working on that issue, because I think not only could it give us rapid transit across the state, but I think it actually could benefit tourism across the entire state of Tennessee. If you've ever been to Europe...
Thank you, Mr. Pickens.
Wow.
Mr. Newman.
First, I would like for us to have a thriving day and night downtown where people talk about coming to Jackson to spend the night at a hotel downtown like they do Chattanooga and other places in the state now. And I'd also like to see, very interesting, so bedroom communities throughout our county, three-way, become bigger bedroom, their own downtown, Westover, Beach Bluff, all the Huntersville, all the areas that we have out in the county, but at the same time preserving our agriculture base that we have so well in the county.
Mr. Miller.
An amusement park, man-made beach, a thriving rail system locally, as well as one that gets us to Nashville and Memphis within minutes. So that's what I think it looks like. And I think also with thriving businesses all over the city. So,
Mr. Massey.
In 2050, I'll be 67, so I hope I'm not working and I can actually enjoy the fruits of all these years of labor. I'd like to have quality entertainment in town where people don't have to leave and go to Memphis or Nashville for quality entertainment. I want safety. I want people to feel safe all parts of our county from corner to corner. I want to have top 5% schools, and I think we're on track for that. It's a long road, but I think we're on track for that. I want quality of life for every constituent of Madison County, whether they're parks to senior centers. I want everybody to have the quality of life they have and not want for anything in Madison County.
So I said that was the final question, but we actually have time for one more. You guys game? You can't say no. There are areas in our county that have seen the decline or absence of retail and commercial growth. What are your plans to spur development or revitalization in these areas of our community? Mr. Newman.
Well, it kind of goes with the last question. As we got a lot of communities meeting and others that are unincorporated or incorporated cities within our county that we need to work with as a county to help them on infrastructure and things and attract retail, attract local businesses that do different things, not necessarily chains, but local ones, and have the bedroom communities I just talked about, as we see Brentwood and Franklin and those type of things. That's kind of what I dream about, and I think that can happen in our county.
Mr. Miller.
Definitely renovate local businesses and recruit people with certain ideas. I spoke to a lady that she asked me about a bakery, and I said it would be nice to just walk down the street and go into a bakery when the light pops on, like Krispy Kreme donuts. Just local business that people have that they just don't know how to go about opening them. So I'd like to take a lot of these dilapidated buildings and renovate them so our local citizens can turn those businesses into thriving businesses.
Mr. Massey.
Well, this is interesting because primarily out in the south part of our county, I get differing opinions on this. I get, what are you going to do for South? How are you going to bring things to South? And then I have about the equal number of responses, don't bring anything out South. We like things the way they are. So I think it's talking to the communities and understanding what their needs are. I think that infrastructure is important, and I think the attractiveness is an area. So I think there's some opportunities for us to look at our coding so we don't have the type of businesses that we don't want that discourage other businesses from locate there. Our sign height, things like that make attractiveness and make people want to locate there. And when people drive through those communities, want to stop at those places. So I think the county can explore how to make things a little more attractive, trees, sidewalks, things like that to make these attractive for new businesses.
Mr. Pickens.
Yeah, I think that just working to attract people and making sure that they have incentives to locate here. We just need to make sure that we're getting the right type of people in here. I'm familiar with the folks out south, and there are two factions there. One says, don't bring anything out here, we like it is. Of course, as you know, I'm city councilman for that district. And then there are those who want more restaurants. We got to have a good restaurant out here. So we're going to have to work to try to bring more people and attract those folks. And I think incentives certainly are one way to do it. And again, as we have heard tonight, I'll make mention of it again, things such as sign height, such as you get in cities like Franklin, Tennessee, and a lot of code restrictions.
Thank you, Mr. Pickens. As we come to the end of our forum tonight, each candidate will be allowed to give a 2-minute closing statement. As a reminder, the order in which candidates give closing statements was predetermined through random drawings conducted with the candidates or a representative. Giving the first closing statement tonight, Mr. Massey.
Well, thank you once again, Union and the Chamber, for supporting this event, and thank you all for being here. This is something that is in my heart and soul to do and to be, but it's really selfish. I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, and in 15 to 20 years, when they have the option, when they have the option to leave Madison County and settle somewhere else, I don't want them to make that decision. I want them to stay here. I want them to settle in Madison County. But here's the key to that. I don't want them to settle for Madison County. I don't want them to feel like they're missing something because they're living here near mom and dad. I want my grandkids close by. My boys live 7 minutes from my in-laws. We can drop them off and we can go away for the weekend and they're safe, they're taken care of, great relationship with their grandparents. I want that relationship with my grandkids. And so building a community that I can be proud of is important to me. I also know that in 30, 40 years, if I'm lucky, I'm going to be able to look back and see what I did or didn't do with this opportunity that we have over the next decade. I'm going to have to give an account to you and your kids and your grandkids. What did we do or what did we miss? This election season has been difficult for me and my family. I've never done this before. I've mentioned that. I didn't really know what to expect, but I knew I had a heart and a passion. I knew I had an army of supporters that wanted me to help lead our county. My message tends to resonate with lots of different backgrounds. I get support from both sides of the aisle, which to some people bothers them, but I see it as an opportunity to lead them. As county mayor, you're not the county mayor for one party. You're not the county mayor for the city or for the one part of the county. You're the county mayor for all nearly 100,000 constituents in our county. And we need somebody that's proactive. We need somebody that's aggressive. We need somebody with energy. And we need somebody that's able to bridge gaps, not build division, but find opportunities where that rising tide raises all ships. I truly believe I'm that person, and I would appreciate your vote for county mayor.
Mr. Pickens.
Before I talk about my 2 minutes, I want to just offer my condolences to the Harvard-Alexander family. Mr. Alexander was a tremendous man in this community. He will be sorely missed. So to the Alexander family, we offer our condolences. Okay, final minute and a half that I have here. I'm just going to say the same thing that I've said many times before. When you go to the polls on May 3rd, or if you do early voting, think about this. The person that you want to lead Madison County should have these leadership traits: bearing, courage, decisiveness, dependability, enthusiasm, and empathy for their fellow man. Think about each one of those. Each one of those leadership traits are exceedingly important for the person that's going to lead this county. It's not how well they can deliver a speech. It's not how well they can perform in a forum. It's how well they perform in the office of mayor. So again, bearing, courage, decisiveness, dependability, enthusiasm, and empathy. If you think I have those leadership traits, and if you think that I can lead this county in a major positive way, I would appreciate your vote on May 3rd. Thank you.
Mr. Miller.
Thank you again, Union University, and everyone for coming out tonight. As I spent my 29 year in the Marine Corps, even from day one, when I first got into boot camp, I was thrust into a leadership position. I was the #1 squad leader all the way through boot camp, where I also saw a lot of my other constituents come and go every day, so to speak. But somehow I stayed the whole term. And with that, I've continued to lead. I've continued to be an asset. And just recently, one young man that I hadn't seen in over 20 years sent me an email. He found me on Facebook and he said, "Because of you, I go to church. Because of you, I lead my family the right way. Because of you, you had such an impact in my life." And I never knew how much I was impacting his life. I was just making decisions that everyone won from. Whenever we went out to war, from Desert Shield, Desert Storm to OIF, OEF, I had to make sure those guys got back home. And they had to make sure I got back home. So I made sure I was training, coaching, and teaching them the right way, because at some point they were going to have an influence over other people. And they took that influence from me. If I have not made an impact in your life, then I feel like I've failed you. As mayor of Madison County, I can assure you, a vote for Fren'Cherry Miller is a vote for you. We're going to do this together. And that's what I bring to the table. I'm relatable, I have leadership, I have determination, I have stick-to-itiveness, and I don't quit. Failure is not an option. And I will have a door open every day 24 hours so you can bring your ideas to me and we can grow this county together. Thank you.
Mr. Newman.
Thank you again for everyone that came tonight, and to our sponsors and those that are watching on TV. You know, this decision to run for county mayor kind of fell in my lap. And I could have taken the easy route and stayed in the job I'm doing now, which I enjoy, and that we've done so much there, great employees. But I love this county, and I have a passion for this county. And I've had a passion for this county for the 30 years that I've served. And that passion, with a lot of prayer and a lot of talk, drove me to the decision to offer myself for county mayor. Now, if you were hiring someone to run the county or run a business, you would hire somebody with experience. That's why I talk about my experience, why I talk about the things I've done. If you won't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And I know where we've been. And we've got a tremendous opportunity, as it's been said by Kyle earlier, that we have the next 10 years will be tremendous. I'm committed to be here during those 10 years, and I don't need on-the-job training. I don't need to be introduced to anybody new. We have a lot of great people working within the county now. We've got a good commissioners. I've got support from most all the commissioners on the county commission. I've got support from the current county mayor, department heads, elected officials, and those are people that support you because they watch you and watch what you do. Now, I'm an unashamed Republican. I got elected in 1990 as the first Republican in Madison County, and I'm proud of that. But along the way, anybody would tell you, as a county commissioner in the north part of the town or as trustee, I serve everybody. When you run as a party, as a Republican, for example, you ask Republicans to come forward and to elect you to be the nominee that you put forward on your core beliefs and things that you believe in, and that's exactly what I do. And I would ask for you to do that. Second thing is, I have made a commitment to ensure that I'll fight any attempt to raise your taxes. If the county commission raises taxes, I got something that's not talked about any and many people don't know about, but I'll veto that attempt to raise the taxes or put a wheel tax in place. So I ask for your vote, and thank you, and God bless.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for allowing the voters of Madison County to get to know you just a little bit better. Just a reminder, early voting in the county primaries continues through April 28th, and of course the county primary will be held on May 3rd. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening.
The Madison County Mayoral Candidates Forum, brought to you by the Jackson Chamber, the Leadership Jackson Alumni Association, Union University.